Hello, students. Sometimes while you're solving MCQs, you keep getting the same types of questions wrong. Do you want to know why this happens and how you can find a solution to that? Let's see in this video. Typically, this is what most students do. They attempt a MCQ, they check the answer, they read the explanation, and they move on. So they keep on repeating the same mistake over and over. The explanation tells you what the right answer is, but it never tells you what went wrong in your thinking. What if a tool could diagnose your thinking, not just your answers? Introducing MBBS MCQ Guru. This is not just a question bank. This is a diagnostic learning system. For every MCQ you submit, it generates a 9 section analysis. It diagnoses why you got wrong using a 7 type cognitive error decision tree. It identifies the examiner trap using a 9 type taxonomy. It builds a personal exam rule from your specific mistakes, and it tracks your error patterns across every MCQ you attempt. Let me show you how it works. Your university now follows competency based medical education as mandated by the National Medical Commission. CBME MCQs don't just test whether you memorized a fact or not. Rather, they test whether you can apply the knowledge, get the clinical reasoning proper, includes conceptual integration, and competency demonstration. This is exactly what MCQ Guru diagnoses. When you get an MCQ wrong, it identifies the specific competency gap that caused the error. So, this is not a question bank as such, but it is a CBME aligned diagnostic system. This is the web app I have created. The link of this web app I have provided in the description below. First, you have to sign up with your email ID and password. Then you will see the interface. Here, you paste the MCQ with the options. So, I have copied the MCQ and with options and pasted here. After you have pasted the MCQs, then you will write the answer whatever you feel correct, followed by the confidence level. The confidence level you should put from 1 to 5. 1 means very less confidence, and 5 means 100% confidence. So your level of confidence should be put from 1 to 5. Then you will enter this or click this. Then it will generate the answer. This will help the app to identify what you are struggling with and give you comprehensive analysis. At the end of the video, you will understand what I am saying. Here, I have already submitted 10 real MCQs across anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. I'm going to walk you through briefly of those MCQs, and I will let you know how this app will help you to understand your thinking pattern and your mistakes. This is the first MCQ from anatomy. I will not go into the details of the answer as such, but we will see this as an example of the app. So once you have pasted the question and entered, you will get the answer, and there will be sections. So first you will get the what is the correct answer. Then you will have a second section. So second section is about what is the core concept being tested. So this is specific for every question. So again, for this topic, it is the embryological thing. So I will not go into the details of this. Then next section is section number 3. This section will show you that why the correct answer is correct, and the explanation will be given in details here for that question. Next is section number 4. This is the crucial section, and this is very powerful. This is cognitive error diagnosis. Here the error type is conceptual misunderstanding. The tool identified exactly what happened in the student's thinking. The student reversed the roles of the mesodermal layers. They selected lateral plate mesoderm, which actually forms limb bones, body wall, and serous membranes, instead of paraxial mesoderm, which forms the axial skeleton and muscles. So this is not a random mistake. This is a specific conceptual reversal. The tool doesn't just say you are wrong, it tells you exactly what happened in your thinking. In the fifth section, the tool will give explanations about all the options, why the correct answer is correct and why the wrong answer is wrong, and its details. So there is no guesswork here. It will help you to eliminate every options with the reasons. Then the sixth section. This is examiner trap identified. The trap type here is partial knowledge exploitation. Here is how it works. The examiner knows that many students will recognize mesoderm is involved. That's the easy part. But the trap is in the subtypes. Lateral plate mesoderm sounds correct if you know the general category but haven't differentiated between paraxial, lateral plate, and intermediate mesoderm. You knew the right category, you just didn't know the right subtype. And the examiner designed this question to exploit exactly that gap. Once you recognize the trap, you will never fall for it again. Then, section number 7, how this concept returns in different forms and formats in your examination. The same mesodermal subtype question can appear as a kidney defect, that's intermediate mesoderm, a heart tube defect, that's lateral plate splanchnic layer, or a rib cage malformation, that's paraxial mesoderm again. So the tool shows you the transfer. So you are not just learning one MCQs, but you are learning the concept across all its exam variations. Coming to the section 8, your exam rule. And this is one of the part that makes this AI tool very powerful. The rule: when a question asks about a vertebral column, ribs, or axial muscle, the answer is always paraxial mesoderm via somites and sclerotome. Lateral plate mesoderm equals limbs and body wall. Intermediate mesoderm equals kidneys and gonads. Never confuse the three. This rule was generated from your specific mistake. It targets your specific confusion. This is personalized correction rule. Then the last section, that is section 9. When this rule fails, sometimes there might be some exceptions for particular condition. So this tool even tells you the exception. Some craniofacial bones derive from neural crest cells and not from mesoderm. So if a question asks about skull or facial bones, the mesoderm rule may not apply. It gives you the rule and its boundaries. That's intellectual honesty built into the system. So you can see that this tool has 9 sections, right from what is the correct answer, what is the core concept, why correct answer is correct, the cognitive error diagnosis, all options analyzed, the examiner trapped identified, what are the concept variations for the particular topic, your personal exam rule book, and what are the exception to this rule book. So you can see here there is no platform currently available that provide this kind of detailed analysis of a particular MCQ for your kind of a analysis or your answer. So this tool diagnoses your thinking of MCQ answering. So this was the first question from anatomy. Then we will have some questions from physiology or uh, then, as I mentioned earlier, I have already taken 10 MCQs. I will not show you the details of that because that is not important. The important part is how this tool will help you to address different MCQs from different subjects. So I will now skip through the MCQs or the details which is not important for you. For the this question, this was the core concept and why this was correct, it is given. And this question, the cognitive error diagnosis is given. And for this question, the problem was in cognitive error and it is conceptual misunderstanding. But this time, the error is of different type. In the first MCQ, the student reversed the mesodermal layers. Here, the student reversed the somatosensory pathway functions. They knew both pathways exist, but they attributed fine touch functions to the spinothalamic tract, which actually carries pain and temperature. So, same error category was there, that is conceptual misunderstanding for both the questions, but a completely different mechanism. So, this tool distinguishes between those two different error types. For this second question, this was the examiner trap, and the subtype was familiar sounding distractor. So, a different trap type than MCQ 1. Here is the psychology. The lateral spinothalamic tract is the pathway students hear most while in lectures. So, when you see a somatosensory questions, your brain defaults to the most familiar pathway name. The examiner knows this. They put the familiar option as a distractor, counting on your brain to choose recognition over reasoning. So there were two MCQs, two completely different traps. The tool adapts its diagnosis to each specific questions. So this was the exam rule for your second question. So till now we have seen two MCQs and two complete diagnosis of these MCQs. In this, we had different subjects, different error types, different traps, and different rules. So this tool doesn't use a same template. It diagnoses each MCQ individually. Now let's move faster. We will go fast from MCQ 3 to MCQ 10. So I have rapidly skipped through the MCQs. We will see the important part. Already 10 MCQs were answered by me first. 10 cognitive errors were diagnosed and 10 exam rules were generated. So the important point here is that this system's real power is not in individual MCQs, but rather what happens when you attempt multiple questions together and it understands the pattern. After all the MCQs, this tool builds a complete picture of your thinking pattern. Look at this total MCQs attempted. What is your overall accuracy? 40%. Which are the correct answer? Which are the incorrect answers? And what is your need particular to the subjects where you should focus? What are your weak areas or weak subjects? Now, the cognitive error breakdown, which is the most interesting part of this analysis. You will see different cognitive errors and their percentage in your output. In these 10 MCQs output, 5 MCQs got wrong because of conceptual misunderstanding, so 50%. One MCQ got wrong because of recall failure, and there are other cognitive errors. So this is how you can see that you will understand different types of errors you committed while answering the questions, and it will suggest which is the dominant kind of error in this session. It will also provide you the subject wise performance, like here anatomy 50% accuracy was there, physiology 33% accuracy, and biochemistry 33% accuracy. And it will also showcase how many questions you attempted, how many are corrected. So this is how you will know which are your strong subjects and which are your weaker subjects. And then you will get the your personalized exam rule book for anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. So, before your next exam, you don't have to revise any random notes. You can revise this because every single rule was generated from your mistakes, and this is your personalized weakness map, and that is turned into a correction manual for your study. So this tool knows your weakness before you yourself know what problems you are facing. This student, though they had a memory problem, the data shows they have a conceptual clarity problem. They are not forgetting facts, rather, they are building reversed mental models, that is confusing which structure does what, which pathway carries what, which cell belongs where. That insight changes everything about how they should study. And then the crucial question you may ask, we already have a lot of platforms for MCQ studying from coaching classes. Why I should use this platform? Here is the answer, the difference. In a regular MCQ app, you attempt a question, you check the answer, you read the explanation given, you move on, and you may repeat the same mistakes. But on the other hand, this MBBS MCQ Guru, after you attempt the question, it will diagnose your thinking errors. It will identify which are the examiner traps you are falling into. It will generate CBME aligned rulebook for your particular problems. It will track the error patterns and it will help you to eliminate mistakes. This is MBBS MCQ Guru. This is available at mymademaster.com and sendmenow.ai website. So rather than practicing MCQ in a traditional manner, start learning from the mistakes you have committed. You can submit your first set of MCQs today. Let the tool diagnose your thinking, build your rule book, find your patterns. Because the students who pass aren't the ones who practice the most MCQs, but they are the ones who understood why they got them wrong. Thank you.